From cast members tweaking on fans about their fan art to an AI selfie generator that may or may not have been my idea, Wicked has had their fair share of AI controversies, one of which nobody knows about, and I guarantee once fans find out, they're going to be canceled for. As someone who does entertainment AI for a living, I am just so fascinated by the world's response every time AI is involved. But first, we gotta address the elephant in the room. Wicked.com. Like, how did this slip through the cracks, guys? So if you didn't know, they printed Wicked.com on the boxes and the instruction manuals of their new Barbie dolls. And Wicked.com is not their website. It is actually a adult film website. And I guess some people were speculating that this was an AI mistake, but according to this article, it looks like they're saying it was just a human error, which, I mean, I don't know which would have been worse, but either way, this is just insane for a brand at this scale. Now, this one was probably the biggest story that came out of all this. On October 21st, 2024, when a TikTok user by the name of Ferlozar decided to upload this video to TikTok, where he's basically just reconstructing the Wicked movie poster to make it better match the original. You know, he is using AI tools like generative fill. It's just a harmless edit that happens to use a little bit of AI to create it. And honestly, this got 10 million views. People thought it was hilarious, and this was honestly great promo for the movie. And it could have stayed that way. Just a harmless little fan edit. Until our girl Cynthia decided to escalate it and say, "This is the wildest, most offensive thing I've ever seen, equal to that awful AI of us fighting, equal to people posing the question, is your green?" Yeah, I mean, the second two, maybe those, you know, a little bit offensive. I could see where she's coming from, but like, come on, like, covering your eyes, and also the fact that we're just like throwing AI under the bus here. Like, you know, this, you could have made a fan edit like this in Microsoft Paint in, you know, 2004. But no, it's AI's fault that this stuff is happening. Just really odd response for Cynthia. And Variety actually asked Ariana her thoughts on the situation, and she said this:
I find AI so conflicting and troublesome sometimes, but I think it's just kind of such a massive adjustment period, and this is something that is it's so much bigger than us, and the fans are gonna have fun and make their edits, but of course it's just a big adjustment period, you know?
Yeah, I think she summed it up really well. I think that was honestly the best response she could have given. But the fact that AI automatically became the center of this conversation, it's just so interesting. Like, I think it's just kind of like that freedom of speech element. It's just becoming easier for people to make memes. So, something we're going to have to get used to. But I think it's also, like, from a marketing standpoint, so powerful to just allow your fans to make those meme edits, because, you know, they're going to make them anyways. And if you can encourage it and empower it rather than having your cast members be defensive, I think that's, you know, really freaking powerful. But I really don't think this should have been nearly as controversial as the other two things we're about to dive into. The first one is Shiz University. This is actually a campaign they launched months and months ago as just like a almost mysterious little landing page where you could put in your details and apply to Shiz University. And I immediately thought this would be a perfect place to add an AI selfie generator. So I hit up one of the marketing directors over there, told them about our AI selfie generator for Back to the Future, and said this would be a perfect integration for Wicked. I didn't get a response. This was June of 2024. But just a couple weeks ago, I was scrolling, and I saw they announced their AI student ID generator, which looked eerily similar to this image that I sent over. So, I mean, they may or may not have gotten the idea from me. I didn't invent the idea of AI selfies, but interesting to see, you know, them take inspiration from this idea. But what was even more interesting was the overwhelming positivity in these comments. Like, when we launched our AI selfie generator with Back to the Future the musical, these were some of the comments we got. Just nasty stuff. People saying they didn't even want to be associated with the brand anymore. But I think the fact that they didn't shove the word AI into people's faces, people didn't really connect, you know, right away that it was an AI-powered experience. But there were a couple people like this girl that said, "Why AI? The poor artists." Or this one: "It has turned my girlfriend into a black woman. She's white. With any curly hair, it's making white people into black people. Also, several attempts with her hair pulled back gave her an anus for a mouth. That's not a metaphor, but literal." My poor guy. I'm so sorry. That sounds traumatizing. But also hilarious. this person, Nishi Pear, said, "I give up. It keeps replacing my hijab scarf with hair. OMG." So clearly she's laughing about it. She thought it was funny. But I think it is important that these AI image generators do a better job of, representing the user correctly, which is something that we ran into early on, but we're able to fix it pretty quickly. But yeah, what really gets me is just the people who are like, "Oh, I wish it weren't AI," or "Why AI? The poor artists." Like something like this, what artist is gonna be generating these things? Like we can't just hire a caricaturist to, I guess paint these. Is that what they want? For every user, it just doesn't make sense. Where people should be getting upset about AI is these graphics, and the fact that nobody's even noticed it yet is just mind-boggling. Like I don't know if they're deleting comments or what, but as someone who generates probably hundreds of AI images every day, I can spot this from a mile away. And I'm not saying the entire thing was AI generated. Like there was, graphic designers behind this, and I'm not against it whatsoever. But the fact that people are getting mad about the selfie generator, but not mad about these, crazy. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you real quick. So this is a poster they did for the Enchanted Forest, and do I even have to say anything? Like it just feels so obvious to me. What human designer would ever make any of these decisions? Like having these random things come across here. I guess there's like goop, or like having bubbles in this one spot but nowhere else. AI is able to do a great job with these like weird organic fantasy shapes because nobody knows what they're supposed to look like. So a lot of the mistakes can be hidden and not appear as mistakes. But it's just the entire thing just feels so unintentional. Like what is this down here? Is it like a wing? Like no artist would just add that in and decide it adds to the aesthetic of the graphic. And it's also just in like the Dolly Midjourney-esque style. They did a whole series of these. Like this is Welcome to Shiz. If you zoom in, like these lines randomly cut off in weird ways, and all the stars are slightly different, which AI tends to do. Or this one where the detail just kind of like fades into the background. But if anything is even remotely hurting artists, it would be stuff like this, where this probably took a designer on the team an hour versus 10 hours. Which again, I don't have a problem with this because they very clearly used AI as a starting point and add in their own touches like text and like these like fancy borders and that kind of thing. So they're not replacing artists. However, this is the thing that people should be upset about if they're upset about anything.